Hi everyone, very good afternoon. My name is Kanika Khurana, and I've been associated with Jobs for Her in a voluntary capacity for over 2 years now. So thrilled that we are doing this session, and it's called an expert chat. I'm trying to be an expert, but I will be very happy to answer any questions you have from the personal experience I have and what I've been seeing around. First things first, who am I and where do I come from? I'm based out of Delhi. In a candid manner, I studied economics honors, after which I am a banker turned entrepreneur turned intrapreneur. So I'm going to break those fancy words for you now. I started my career with Morgan Stanley in the London and Bombay office. I was working in the banking division. 3 years into the job, I kind of felt that my heart is not into it. So then I and my friend, we were about 23 when we started our own online venture called Closet Edit. It was an online portal where women could buy and sell clothes, shoes, bags, and accessories. We did that for about 2.5, 3 years. We were very young, but it was a fantastic experience, one I'm very grateful for. We had to make a hard decision to stop it and close operations, but it taught us a lot, right? A lot of things that I learned in Closet Edit, I apply till today. And then in 2017, I went for my master's. I am a graduate from Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. I finished my graduation in 2018. And to anyone who's aware of ISB, it was quite an amazing year. After that, I'm working with Castle. It's a fashion tech, US-based fashion tech company. So it's a fashion rental platform wherein we rent clothing. So we give our clothing to rent to women across the United States. So still in fashion, still in an industry which is very close to women. I'm a program manager. I manage a small team of about 2 people. I've been with them for about 2 years now. In fact, I complete 2 years like tomorrow. So it's been quite exciting. Yeah, that's about me. Other than that, other than the boring resume talks, I am I'm very passionate about education. I have been teaching kids for best of 10 years now, and underprivileged kids from all different sections and societies. And women empowerment is very close to my heart. I believe every woman should be out there doing something for herself, either as an entrepreneur from home or at work. I think it's very enterprising, but more than that, very fulfilling. So I mentor women who are wanting to rise up in their careers, who are wanting to switch gears. Currently in COVID, I am mentoring a small startup. It's a salon actually, so very exciting beauty services. I'm mentoring them to scale their business and gain more customers and use this lockdown as an opportunity. So I think in a nutshell, I'm always looking to learn something new. I'm very excited for new opportunities, new learnings, and I have tried, sometimes successfully and sometimes not so successfully, to challenge myself. So that's who I am. And I think with that, we can get started on today's session. So we're going to be talking about working from home and how to keep it professional. I have about 8 years of work experience. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So I know a little bit about being professional and being out there. But like all of us, lockdown is the first experience. So everything that I will be sharing is from my own personal experience, and how I manage my day to day in this lockdown. I will go about this talk is that I will segment it into 3 parts. I will speak about the challenges, that I personally face on a day-on-day basis to get up and get going. Then I will talk about the hacks, solutions that I try and experiment to go from day 1 to day 2, day 2 to day 3, while just being at home. And finally, your questions. This is an expert chat session. Please ask as many questions you have. The more, the merrier. And we can go around like that. Okay, so My company was actually one of the first few companies to go in a lockdown, right? So we have been in a work from home setup since, I don't know, March 16th. So it's exactly 2 months now that we are in this setup. And to be honest, it's challenging, right? You are used to a schedule, you are used to getting up, going out there, you have a routine, and all of a sudden, all of that is snatched from you, and you're just at home. Um, so I feel these are the following challenges that I have felt in the last month and a half that I've been working in the work from home setup. First foremost is motivation. It's hard to keep yourself motivated on a day basis in the same manner, because you literally just get up, you go from your washroom to your dining table to your room, and that's how you're circulating. You've not met your friends, you've not probably met your family, and that can be very demotivating, right? So I think motivation is a key challenge, not only but to keep us going on a professional but also on a personal front. Second challenge that I face is that we don't have a routine that we used to, right? So I knew at 9 o'clock I have to leave my house, I have to be in the car, I have to go to work, but now all of that is not happening. Of course, I'm very happy with no driving and no traffic, but that's just a small part of the big story. Missing schedule, right? So you wake up, you start working in a haphazard manner, and before you know it, there are 10 things that come your way, and the day is over. And fourth challenge that I've identified is limited connectivity. So initially, you'd meet your team, your members, your peers, your boss. I'm sure some of you will also miss seeing your peers and bosses at this point, right? But all of that is very limited to a video call or a phone call. And I know that in this time, all of us are starting to realize the importance of in-person communication, right? This having that person sit next to you and talk to you, or have those team meetings in person, it makes so much of a difference. So these are the key challenges that I have identified. Should you have any other challenges that probably have not addressed, I'll give you a minute. Please put it in the comment box, and I can add to my list. Okay. No worries. Please comment along the way, and I'd be happy to address something that I've not addressed. So I believe motivation is kind of broken down into two parts. Motivation is either I am motivated or I'm just not motivated to do anything. And how do you kind of juggle that, right? So here are my 2 cents. Here is how I manage my day-on-day basis. First, most importantly, get up, dress up, show up. Every single day of the last 2 months, 1.5 months that I have been in a work from home setup, I dress in my formals. There's not been a day that I've woken up, not taken a shower, in my pajamas and just opened the laptop. No. And yes, my family has made joke of me saying, what are you doing? You're not going anywhere. And so many times I've gotten ready and they're like, okay, so where are you heading? But it makes so much of a difference, right? It just makes so much of a difference, because I feel a little bit sense of the normalcy. Every single day, get up, dress up, show up, no matter what, right? Second thing that helps me is that I have maintained a really cute small desk in our room. It's very minimalistic. I think someone asked me about what are the basic amenities that you need to get a work from home going. Very minimalistic. In fact, somewhat similar to what I have in my workplace. A basic desk with a basic chair. For me, I think what makes a difference is I have natural light in the room that really uplifts my spirit. And my pens, I love stationery, so I have like 50 types of pens, a to-do notebook, and my laptop and my water bottle. And this is exactly how my desk looks at my workplace. Of course, other than the 50 photos that I have of my family. So it's very similar, right? So I have my desk where I know that I will be. So when I finish my breakfast and I come to my room, I have to be here, right? So there is a sense of belongingness to the corner. And I think the third thing that really helps me is follow my routine. If at work I log in, I used to start my day, we start office by like 10:30. So no later than 10:15 at 10:30, I start my day. I think it really, really helps to keep the momentum going, because I know that this is my schedule, and also that my family knows, right? That these are I mean I'm working. I think one challenge that a lot of people face in the current work from home setup is that, family think that they're just available now that they're home, but no, you're working, right? You're following your schedule. So once you follow your schedule and they will see you following your schedule, things just work in tandem. So I follow my schedule, which means that if in office I have a half an hour lunch break, then even at home I have a half an hour lunch break, and then I go back and I try to do what I'm doing. That said, of course, I am also a victim of being at home, having Netflix and my bed at disposal where I can just lie down from time to time. So I do. Even I feel the need of, okay, I don't feel like doing it today. I don't feel like just going back to work, right? I try to block that time. So if I'm watching Netflix or if I want to watch that one show, no more than 20 minutes. Okay, let's block it. It doesn't, because the thing with, because I feel like a lot of people are playing video games on their phone, they are watching TV. It's never ending, right? You start and then it's just a spiral. So block a time. Okay, half an hour after lunch I give that to myself, and then but that means that I will log out half an hour later. So that's how I try to compensate my to-do list. Fourth, most importantly, what I have been doing is I've been following a to-do list on a daily basis, like how I used to in office. And I don't know if all of you do that, but it is so powerful, because when I did not have a to-do list to now when I have a to-do list, I just feel so much more productive, right? It's such a small hack, but it's so important. I don't know how many of you follow it religiously, but you should try that. And in my to-do list, what I do is I break it down by segments. Okay, so and by time, I allocate time. Okay, so 11 to 1, only team catch up, and seeing if there are some issues, if there are something that I can do better. That's it. But after 1 o'clock, I will not do that. And then other things, making a presentation or whatever my day requires, then I put blocks. And it's very fulfilling. I've been only trying this time slot bit in the lockdown, to kind of have a how do I say it, to kind of have a hang or a grip on my schedule. So I say, okay, 11 to 1 I will do this, 1 to 2 I will do this, and then 2 to 4 I will do this. And then when I'm actually able to finish an assigned task in that limited time period, I feel very satisfied. And that satisfaction then adds up to my own motivation to get about the day. And therefore, and then that helps me perform well, that helps me feel good. I feel like one very important factor in my professional life is that whatever task I do, if I feel good about it, it motivates me to do something more, so it's a loop, and I try. Sometimes I do it well, sometimes I don't, but I try. And last but not the least is that communicate, right? In your day-on-day basis, you would meet your colleagues, you would meet your team members, you would talk to them. You'd probably have a cup of chai or gossip or smoke breaks, whatever it is. But continue doing that. It'd be limited to Zoom, but it helps, right? So where I work, we have an amazing work culture, right? So last 2 Fridays we just met over coffee. We said, okay, guys, I'm going to get my coffee, you get your chai, let's just meet over Zoom and let's just catch up on how you guys are doing, right? Like, other than a formal what's happening at work catch up. And that helps, right? Because then you also realize that you're not the only one feeling this. Everyone is in this together. Everyone is feeling the brunt of it, but maybe are managing it from a different level. So, that said, this is when you're motivated. Now, what happens when you're not motivated? And I won't lie to you, but there are days when I just get up and I feel like, okay, I don't want to work today. Like, I don't feel motivated. How do I help myself there? So suppose you have a really big task that you have supposed to achieve, break it down into smaller chunks. And I'll tell you why. So suppose your bigger task has 5 smaller chunks, and you'll probably do 2 That too is always so much better than zero or doing nothing, because then at the end of the day you will beat yourself up and be like, damn, I went through another day and have not done anything, and that's never a good feeling. And then that cycle of, then it's so easy to not feel motivated the next day and the next day and the next day, right? So keep that momentum. You know, make it into smaller chunks, and you will feel, again, you will feel satisfaction. And I think it happened only last week, right? I woke up and I was just like, I'm not motivated, I've not seen family, I've just been in this working from home setup, I don't feel like working. I broke it down into smaller chunks, and it helped me because I knew I was doing something, right? And I think to tell myself the story, okay, I'm productive, okay, I feel fulfilled and satisfied, kept me going, right? So that's what I do. Other than that, I feel some other thing outside of work that keeps me going is the fact that I've been looking at lockdown actually in a very positive mindset. I think this is a time. It's a blessing in disguise. My heart really goes out for everyone who's suffered from this disease, virus. Sorry, and it's really hard. But it has just given us a chance to stop and to reflect. You know, so many things in my life that I was thinking, okay, maybe are important, are probably not. And now is the time you realize that you can live a happy life with the minimalistic things that you have at home, because that's what you have right now. I'm also using this time to do two things. First is a lot of introspection. Yeah, when you go to a business school, they ask you what is your 5-year and your 10-year plan, and 99% of times you whatever you say, you never follow. But I feel that now when I take a step back, I can really reflect on what have I been doing in my profession, because I'm not just running in that rat race. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to do something else? Do I want to add to what I'm doing? Is this where I see myself in 5 years? And yes, these conversations are hard, but now is a good time to have this. And second, sorry, excuse me. Learn those things that are always on your to-do list, but you never have found time. Because guess what? Now you have all the time in the world. One of those is dance. I have always, I think I'm more of a monkey dancer. I like just jumping with energy. But I found this dance class online and I'm learning slow dance. I know my mom will be very happy about it. But again, doing these outside activities keep me going, and they reflect back on my work. If I'm not going to be satisfied in my work, in my life outside office, it's very difficult for me to show performance at work. I personally very strongly believe it goes hand in hand. So these are the hacks that I'm doing. In a nutshell, to sum up what I have been saying: dress up, show up, have a workplace, follow a to-do list, make a schedule. You know that you will fail. Some days you will fail. You will not be able to match up to the schedule. But the important thing is to try, to make sure that you don't just give up halfway. And look for opportunities, right? Probably there are opportunities at work. To give you an example, at my work, my team member, she very talented, and I said, okay, this is, and she's very young, she's like 22. And I said, this is a great opportunity. You've learned some good skills in the company. Now everyone's at home. Let's share. And so she hosted a session in the company last Friday, which was appreciated. But it's just about thinking on your feet, okay? These are extraordinary times, but there are opportunities. What can you do more? Maybe you can teach something to one of your colleagues. Maybe you can learn a new skill. This is a great time to upskill. And this is a great time, in case you're not already in your dream job, this is a great time to kind of think, where do you want to go? So in a nutshell, these are the things that I keep myself, these are the things I do to keep myself motivated. And I hope that is of use. I will just take on some questions. Hi Niharika. So Niharika is asking that how do you keep yourself from the FaceTime conference call Zoom fatigue? So Actually, my work does not involve a lot of calling on a day-on-day basis. We have a bi-weekly catch-up, but we do have these long conversations. So what I do is, the day I have a lot of calls, I try to schedule my work accordingly, right? So it means that I focus my energy a little more on calls, and then the other times I just sort of take it easy so I can balance it out. But next day, then I cover up. I think one key thing that I'm really learning in this time is how to balance out the different things that are coming your way. And it's a lot of experiment, right? Something will work for you, something not work for you, but it's important for you to try. So I'm sure you're going to figure that out. So Sudha is asking that how do you maintain a work balance while working from home? Personally, it is difficult to dedicate my work in personal space. I think that's a question that probably resonates with all of us. But I think in the nutshell, exactly what I was talking about, I maintain a balance by making sure that my work then now finishes at a time, because I don't have travel time, right? So I can finish my work by 6 to 7, and then after that I spend quality time with my family. I also think it's a great opportunity to rebuild bonds with friends and family, and I try to do that. I think it's about scheduling your day right, and once you do that, you will be able to see impact on your work and your relationships. Hi, Sally. Sally is asking that working from home involves constant interruptions of household chores, and sometimes things take too much time. How do you deal with this, or with family expectations of chores during the day? Um, so I think what I try to do is I bucket my whatever household related work I have to do before I start work somewhere in the middle and after. Right. So if you have to make breakfast or help with breakfast, then I schedule that before. While something that I'm needed to, for example, cleaning my room, washing the clothes, etc., tries to do it towards the end of the day or towards the end of the week. I think what also helps is I've been telling my family as well, you don't have to do some chores on a day-on-day basis. Maybe you can just clean your house once in 2 days. You can wash your clothes once in 3 days. So then that way, I think bucketing is going to be the key to success. And by bucketing, you can add more efficiency to what you do on a day-on-day basis. So I hope that helps. So we have Shraya. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. She said working from home can make us a little lethargic. How can I make it professional? I hope I've answered that question. I guess, again, having a to-do list, following your schedule, and also like all of this makes you feel as close as you can to your workplace, right? Which means that therefore then when you have that transition from going from to your bedroom to your actual workplace, then it's not very difficult. Because the problem is also, if you get too used to this lifestyle, it's difficult for you to switch. But I think by following a routine or trying your very best to follow it as far as you can, you will be able to achieve what you're looking at. Padma Shri is asking that I have two little kids who disturb me during my video conferences. Does it have to be unprofessional impact on my bosses? I don't have kids. I just got married. But I do have very adorable nephew and niece, and there have been times I've just walked into the room running around. How I combat that is I just make a joke. I say that time when they came in, I said, the kids have so much energy. Now they're just channelizing it by running around the house. So everyone just laughs and forgets it. For the ones of you who have a dog, last Friday I was on a work call and my dog started barking like really ferociously. So then I joked saying, now even the dog is telling me to just get out of the house, human, and get your life going. So I think you can always come back by saying something funny, but you also have to remember that everyone understands it, right? Everyone is in the same situation as yourself. So I don't think it's unprofessional. It's just about how you deal it with a joke, deal it with grace, that okay, my kid came in. But the first thing I do, if someone just comes running in front of my screen, I mute it. And then when I unmute myself and things are stabilized, then I just say something funny. And I think so far that works. I don't think it should be unprofessional, because it's just empathy. Everyone's going through it. Um, Mary Vikram asked me that what are the essential amenities that are required to have an office space in home to make it look and feel more professional. It really is a very personal choice. What may work for me may not work for you. But I feel that natural light, is there a corner in your house that has natural light? A small desk, a chair. I have tried sitting on my bed and having that laptop shelf and working. I always fall asleep. Please don't do that. It doesn't work for me. But just your water bottle, whatever you had at your desk at work, right? You probably had a notebook, pens. Keep it very minimalistic. I don't think there are do's and don'ts to making a place feel professional, but you just have to see what works for you. Maybe working on the sofa works for you. Maybe making a small corner with pillows and cushion works for you. Um, so keep experimenting, but the key is that you use that space again and again, and you don't, one day work there and one day not work there, because then it'll be ineffective. Ranjana is asking me, hi, how can I follow the same routine at home which I used to follow in office? I think it goes back to blocking. If you're working, say, 9 to 5, you follow that schedule as far as you can, and then if you had chores of making dinner, spending time with the family, you can always do that after. So I think in my personal belief, blocking and sticking to it will help you. Mm, okay, Ashwini is asking me, due to the environment at my home, I'm unable to concentrate and work. Um, I'm sure it's hard. I'm sure everyone has some sort of a challenge at home, but you really have to see what keeps you going, right? For me, what keeps me going is um, crossing my to-do list at the end of the day, because then I feel I've achieved something. For me, what keeps me going is learning something new at work or otherwise, upskilling myself. That keeps me going. If the concentration is not working for you, so as opposed to sitting for 4 hours at a stretch, you can sit for half an hour, maybe concentrate better, take a 15-minute break, then come back. Maybe that might help. Um, or alternatively, what you can also do is you can try working different times. Maybe the morning, like early morning slot, works for you better than night, or vice versa. So you can, depending on how flexible your work is, you can try something like that. I feel like this is a great opportunity to experiment both leadership styles, professional styles, and working styles. So grab every opportunity you can and make the most of it. Kavita is asking that, does wearing formal during video conference with colleagues, is it a part of being professional? Um, I think it depends organization to organization. I definitely think it reflects well, when you're dressed well. So I would say if I dress well, like if every day that I'm wearing formals in the last 2 weeks, it's for myself. It's not for my colleagues, it's not for my boss, it's not for anyone else, but it's for myself because I feel good. So if you think that it will make you feel good, then you should absolutely do it. And at this point, how others will perceive you will always be a function of your work, right? I think it's a feel good factor, and you should definitely try and then see how you feel, and you can be a better judge for yourself. Um, Next, we have Snehal. How can I be more professional so that I can perform better? So Snehal, I think that um, you I have identified roadblocks. I have identified what keeps me from becoming my best version of professional self, and I'm trying to work on those. Right. So maybe you can do that. See where you want to improve. I also did that with my team. I asked them to think of skills they want to learn. If today their job satisfaction is at 7, how can it go to 8? Only they can tell me, and only I can tell my boss, right? So think of that. I think if there are roadblocks that you pick up and establish, then you will feel better, and you will start reflecting in your work. And I think a lot of what I have been talking is that outside satisfaction and professional satisfaction are in tandem. See what works for you. I don't think there is a to-do list to be more professional and perform better, but I believe two things. Do what you're doing the best, right? So if you're doing a reporting, which is probably not very challenging, do it the best version you can. And second is the daily task that you're doing, how can you do it better, right? I'll give you an example. My team, we were reporting in X manner, which was efficient, which was okay. It was working for us. It was a daily report. But then, we asked ourselves, if I want to look back to this report 5 years from today, will this be efficient? Maybe not. How can I do this better? Right? So when you answer that, how can I do what I'm doing now better? You add efficiency to your performance, and then you become more professional. And it's not rocket science, by the way. It's just so common. It's right in front of you. It's just how much you think and the effort you make. Ujjwala is asking me that being disciplined helps you cultivate professionalism. Absolutely. And I think the person I will refer back to that is my dad. He is the most disciplined person I know. I think he is disciplined for my entire family. He started a business out of a garage, and he has done well for himself. And I've seen him. He's just followed discipline day on day, year on year, month on month in the same manner. So if discipline means making sure he's never taken an off, making sure his emails are on track, making sure that his employees are on track, and opportunities are on track. I don't think I'm even 10% of what he does, but I've seen it and I know it makes a difference. And I'll tell you why. Because he's disciplined, because he knows that, okay, this part of my day suppose goes in a certain way. Then the other time that he has, he's always looking for opportunities to explore. So it means adding to the business, adding a new line, hiring more people, looking at new clients. When you are disciplined in what you are doing, you always have time to do more. And I believe that is key to success, right? When you're challenging yourself, when you're doing more than what you were doing yesterday. So absolutely. That said, discipline is the hardest to come by. I try. Some days I try well, some days it doesn't happen. But the important thing is to try. Maybe I'm not 100% where my dad is, but I'm 5% there, and we can get there step by step. So Priya is asking me that I'm working from home. How can I maintain the same professionalism? So I hope with what I have talked, I have answered your question. If there's anything else, please ask in the chat box. Finally, Rubina is asking me. This is a little outside of context. This is a little outside of this conversation question, but I'm happy to answer. Rubina is asking me that I have been appointed as HR, and what traits with respect to being professionalism should I consider while recruiting a candidate? That's interesting because I have been hiring for my team, so I can answer from a manager's perspective. But I think in terms of a personal trait, I look for three things. I look for keenness to learn. How keen is this person to learn when this person will be on the job? Second is team player. It's so cliche, but it's so apt. When you're working as a team, you don't want someone to work in an individualistic fashion. You want everyone to work together. And how do I test that? Give me examples. Give me examples when you were in a team, and how, if something went wrong, what did you do? How did you bring everyone together? And I think third thing that I look for in my employees is that will they stay? I know it's so hard to answer, but I try. And you can gauge. So my most recent hire to my team, She has been with the last organization for 5 years, and I think it's important, right? When every time someone walks into that door, becomes a part of your team, you really invest in them. You invest in them professionally, you invest in them personally, and then if they're not even with you for 3 to 6 months, uh, it feels like your energy could have been utilized better elsewhere. So I think there are three things I look for in terms of professionalism: past work experience. In case of a fresher, what were the ethics in college? Team player, most important, hungry to learn. I think you can really shape those people who are wanting to be shaped. If someone walks into that door and is complacent and happy, it's hard. Um, you know, and obviously, most importantly is the person should match the skill set you're looking for, right? What are the key skill competencies you're looking for? And but that's the technical aspect. But I think these are the softer skills that I would look at. So I think with that I've answered all the questions. What I will do is I will still wait for 5 minutes in case anyone has questions. I'll be very happy to answer. Hi Trivi. So you asked me that am I taking advantage of work from home and indulge in other extracurricular activities? Um, Absolutely. Um, so I am learning dance, and I think you should try to. I take online classes. This is something that I've always wanted to do for a very long time, but I always had that perfect excuse: I don't have time. Now I have all the time, so I try. And I think another thing I'm doing, which again everyone in the world is doing, I'm baking, or more like trying to bake. It's an attempt to bake with my husband, so it's interesting, trying new things, and even at work, try to pick up some new projects. So trying, and I hope you will too. Um, Ayushi, hi Ayushi, you're asking me what do you find most satisfying about work from home? Any changes in a way of working you see that you'd wish to incorporate post lockdown once you're back in office? I think that's a great question. I think the most satisfying thing on my day-on-day basis, I feel more productive. I don't irony to what I've been hearing. I do feel more productive. I think one of the reasons is that I don't have any travel time. And one of the key learnings that I have been incorporating on my day-on-day basis, which I would want to take on to when I go back to work, is just following my to-do list very, very religiously. And now I'm bucketing it by the hour, and that really helps. And on a personal level, I've started realizing a lot of things that are important that you probably take for granted, or things that are not so important and you give too much importance. And so something like this, being in touch with old friends, being in touch with family, I hope that the Zoom call that my friends and I've been doing, it goes on a long way, so we feel connected. And I feel in this quarantine time, every birthday, every anniversary, because everyone was just trying to make up for the fact we are home, they made it even more special. And so I hope that we continue doing this, right? And I hope that the things that we've realized are actually important to us as professional and as people, we don't forget them. And I hope to keep dancing. Um, Hi Sally. Sally is asking me how she can improve her public speaking skills. Um, Interesting. I think how you can improve your public speaking skills is two-way. One would be, I don't know if you've heard of this club called Toastmaster. They have an online forum, and I think now all their social sessions are online. So you can go and you can connect with them online, and meet people, speak, deliver, and get feedback. That's great. Second thing, which I have been doing a lot in my free time, because I hope to do it one day, and I hope to do a TED talk, is pick up skills. Look at these videos, look at TED videos, um, look at other orator videos, and then see what is that they're doing well. And I'm actually making notes of that, right? So this yesterday I saw this video by a blogger called Tim Urban, and I just noticed what I liked in the way he was speaking and what I did not like. And I've just been researching on how can I improve my public speaking as well. So you can do all the groundwork now. I think it's a great time. But once you actually, when the lockdown is over, the best way to do public speaking is by doing public speaking, right? So you start from somewhere and then you just improve on the go. But I think use this time to kind of do your homework and groundwork. I hope that answers all your questions. Okay, I think I'm about 15 minutes over time, which is not surprising because I have been told I talk a lot, but that works well in my favor. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate your time. I hope this was of value. You can always drop me a note if you have any more questions. I'll be happy to answer. I think on a closing note, look at this quarantine as a time that will never come again. We really hope so. And make the most of what you have, right? Maybe you want to talk to an old friend, maybe you want to pick up that opportunity at work, and you know, you will feel satisfied. So make the most of every day. Even if some days you don't feel like it, just try, you'll get there. So thank you so much, and I'm taking off now. Bye.